Joining NBA Today, the aforementioned Kelsey Mitchell. Congrats on your hello and congrats on your 34-point performance. What did you have working there in Game 1 for you?
I think it was just about having confidence for one, leaning on my preparation, and then my teammates, us, our chemistry, everything we've been through this season, kind of put us in position to really be us.
Finally, Kelsey Mitchell has spoken out against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And believe me, you will be shocked by what she disclosed. Everyone believed they understood the tale of rivalry and ego, but Mitchell's remarks completely upend their dynamic and alter your perceptions of leadership, respect, and the WNBA's future.
And then you bring in Caitlin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you better appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that. And I love the teammate and person in her because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make, what it is.
Let's honestly be tough. Every time an Indiana Fever player approaches a microphone, Caitlin Clark is the subject of the conversation. It's an infatuation with the league. This time, however, it fell on Kelsey Mitchell, the pillar that supported this franchise during its most depressing and shameful moments. We are referring to seasons in which Indiana won 5 games. On one hand, you could count them. Mitchell fought to keep the club from dissolving, smiling through news conferences, and enduring being a punching bag for the league. She experienced that awful insignificance firsthand. She does not use a corny, media-trained soundbite when she talks about Clark. This is ridiculous, yet she's amazing at assisting us. This is the unvarnished truth.
I'm pretty sure somebody took care of it for her. I love it because as much people don't know this about Caitlin, but she has an unbelievable, funny sense of humor. And so I think the tweet was the tweet, but you just have to know CC to know that it's just nothing but love coming from that kid, and her energy and her effort to just kind of support our team is just her way of doing it.
And you know what? She affirmed what everyone knew in private but was afraid to express out loud. Caitlin Clark did more than only change the Fever. She switched to basketball. For a period. A seasoned soldier, Mitchell said into the camera. Clark changed the world. Altered basketball's dynamic. This isn't mere banter. One of the league's top scorers is practically acknowledging that, yeah, none of this happens without Caitlin Clark. The bit that will blow your mind, though, is right here. Her tone was devoid of any hint of jealousy. Just pure, genuine respect. No insults, no subtle aggression. Drama was sought after by the media. They were admired. Everything you believe to be true about the mechanics of stars is going to change.
You guys have made the playoffs the last 2. What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed the way the team has grown organically?
Oh, man, I think a big shout out to the organization taking time to rebuild. I think our draft picks ended up coming big. Lexi Hall was a big draft pick, and then you get Kaylin, and then you get AB. And so you culminate that together with, my experience and having to, go through a couple things before they got there. I think it was just like a match made in heaven, really, because I was, still at a young age to really, vibe and get to know these players for who they were. And then you bring in Kaylin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you better appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that.
However, that doesn't imply Kelsey lost sight of her great worth. She gently reminded everyone that long before Clark came, she had been here working hard, surviving devastating losses, and coping with ruthless rebuilds. And that's the unchangeable reality. The stage that Caitlin is currently occupying would not even exist without Mitchell's steady scoring and constant leadership. It is often forgotten that Mitchell is among the league's most brutally underappreciated scorers. Although she doesn't receive much national attention, she was the ferocious pulse that prevented this squad from stagnating. Because she has witnessed all sides, her opinions are credible. The exhilarating renewal and the utter shame of Indiana's past. She's clever enough to figure out which version puts more money in everyone's pockets, sells out arenas, and secures huge TV deals. Individual fame is not the only thing at stake here. It's about all boats being lifted by the rising tide.
God forbid Asia doesn't drop 40 for us. I thought it was really poor. Really poor.
Kelsey Mitchell. What about the way she was playing today made it so difficult?
Well, one, she made every freaking shot, it seemed like. Long twos, short twos, threes, get the free throw line.
This is where it becomes even more bizarre, though. Caitlin wasn't simply referred to as a teammate by Kelsey. She referred to her as a friend. She continued by praising Clark for greeting the whole crew and managing the intense, constant attention with unfathomable poise. We've all seen superstars in other leagues turn into divas, polluting locker rooms and making teammates' lives miserable, so this is crucial. Clark took the opposite action. She ensured that everyone had access to food. Without a doubt, Mitchell is now savoring his food. Her profile has gone viral. She's spearheading playoff surges, dropping points, and at last receiving the national acclaim she earned years ago. The irony is delightful. In a sense, Clark's presence made big media outlets and the league as a whole finally take notice to Indiana. Mitchell might still be sleeping in relative silence at 25 a night without Clark. With Clark, it's obvious to all. Mitchell not only understands it, but she also holds it in high regard.
Now, you were an MVP finalist this year with our own Chiney Ogwumike even saying that you had the best season of any guard this year in the league. What has it been like to get that kind of recognition and get your flowers?
Oh, I appreciate it. I've been to a lot throughout the course of my career with Indiana Fever. It's been like my longest, ever. So it's for me, it's a humbling experience to kind of see myself make waves from where it started to where it is now. And just kind of respect the game, lean on the game as far as creating bonds and friendships. And now you get to see us do that now.
Let's now discuss something Kelsey mentioned that shocked the fan base because no one anticipated it. The notorious fine tweet. Do you recall when Caitlin Clark made light of her fine in passing? The internet went crazy. Some yelled that it was classless, while others accused it of instigating violence. Mitchell claims that the real Fever players were giggling in the meantime. They enjoyed it because it showed off Clark's sly sense of humor, which is not often seen by the general public. This is the section that will wow you. That is the primary distinction between outsiders and teammates. Every statement is scrutinized by outsiders who look for contrived drama. Colleagues can see the real person behind the polished brand. Mitchell essentially advised everyone to calm down. Caitlin was only being sincere in her humor. You can tell the locker room is secure in this way. Clark's tweet would have sparked a flurry of internal turmoil if he had offended anyone. It was merely an inside joke instead. This brings us to the wider picture. Mitchell, Clark, Boston, and Hall make up the indisputable core four. That is the core group on which Indiana is establishing a dynasty. Mitchell also essentially affirmed that it is indestructible. To keep this elite crew together, she even made the shocking implication that she could think about taking a pay cut. Consider that. One of the league's most reliable and prolific scorers, prepared to forego financial gain in order to maintain team unity and future success. Professional sports hardly ever do that. Why? Since Mitchell is aware of what is about to happen. She is aware that the Fever are sitting on a treasure trove. A postseason run isn't the only goal here. This now involves creating a legacy, a brand, and a new structure for the league as a whole. Indiana served as the league's punchline for many years. They now serve as the plot. Although it may sound cliché, the Fever making the finals on the strength of true friendship and belief is actually working. Mitchell thinks so. It is fueled by Clark. It is anchored by Boston. Hall grinds in it non-stop. Together, they have turned Indiana from a laughingstock into a serious, formidable candidate. Everyone is aware that the following year can be even more terrifying. Let's not overlook Mitchell's nuanced remark, though. Her well-chosen remarks on rebuilding, draft picks, and working through things weren't merely fluff, but she didn't come out firing. They served as potent reminders. She arrived here initially. She endured the heartbreaking, devastating defeat. She suffered from constant disregard from the media and league. When no one else wanted to, she took on the enormous burden of a failing franchise. The message is conveyed subtly but effectively. Don't you dare forget my part in this story. She is also quite correct. Without Mitchell's steadfast dedication, the Fever wouldn't make it long enough to select Boston, much less sign Clark. The franchise's sparkling new face makes people swoon. However, Mitchell's unwavering efforts prevented this club from stagnating. That isn't resentment. It's the harsh truth. She is as deserving of her flowers as anyone else on the list, if not more. It is the reason this dynamic is so captivating. Clark is credited with changing the game on a worldwide scale and garnering record viewership for national stories. Additionally, Mitchell worked tirelessly to keep the lights on in the community even when the franchise was a complete joke. When combined, they are deadly. They wouldn't be historic, but they would both still be quite wonderful on their own. Fever followers admire Mitchell's candor because she encapsulated this delicate balance in her brutally honest words. Social media erupted right away. Her interview video went viral, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Her admirers commended her for being genuine, elegant, and refreshingly honest. Just the truth, without any jealousy or passive aggression. It particularly infuriated the Fever fanbase since it put an end to the stale created narrative that Mitchell and Clark cannot live together. Drama was what everyone wanted. They received unquestionable respect in return. And when you really think about it, Mitchell's strategy is brilliant. She greatly increased the worth of the team by praising Clark and emphasizing her own indispensable contribution at the same time. This is more than simply Caitlin Clark and the Fever, she made very clear. The Fever is this: a formidable squad with several standout players who are all important. Because, let's be honest, the Fever are quickly approaching dynastic territory. No one anticipated it would happen so quickly. They were the squad you circled for a simple victory a few years ago. Opposing teams now circle them in utter fear. The Fever ruthlessly reveal weaknesses in addition to winning. They play relentless, selfless basketball and completely humiliate anyone who isn't locked in for the entire 4 quarters. They destroyed Atlanta in this way. In this way, they dealt a direct blow to Las Vegas. They have stunned the entire league in this way. Mitchell is aware of it. Clark is aware of it. Boston is aware of it. Hall is aware of it. Mitchell was so adamant about the core 4 because of this. Players don't just say they'll accept wage reductions in passing unless they genuinely believe in something far greater than themselves. You can tell this crew is genuinely unique in that way. It goes beyond the upcoming game. It involves completely altering a franchise's narrative. In essence, Mitchell said to the world, "We're not finished. The story doesn't stop even if this year's finals run doesn't result in a trophy. It only prepares the ground for the following year." Imagine Boston being stronger the following year. Consider Hall's defense becoming even more oppressive. Imagine Clark in her 3rd year, more surgically composed and experienced. And picture Mitchell continuing to drop buckets non-stop while maintaining her composure with her seasoned wisdom. Not only is that frightening, but it will give the rest of the league nightmare fuel. Mitchell made a suggestion that they would almost definitely run it back, doubling down on what is clearly effective. This is a declaration, not just a collection of lovely quotes. She fully acknowledges Clark's enormous influence and is fully committed to the Fever's future. She's not resentful or jealous, and she doesn't feel threatened. She has strong motivation. And if you're creating something truly monumental, that's the kind of colleague you want.